Borealum. The Sisters of Battle rely greatly on their faith. It is their sustenance and their shield. When they first came to the tainted world of Kaurava, Confessor Turganum March was quick to see how much holy light and fire it would take to cleanse the 4 planets. He therefore brought the living Saint Anais and placed her in their primary bastion in Sama on Kaurava 1. Following a secret and ancient practice, the living saint was imbued with the inviolable aura, an aura of invincibility which would prevent any chance, he thought, of defeat. Guarded at the last by this inviolable aura, the Sisters of Battle marched with great surety. Who, in truth, would dare oppose them? What adversary could faith and fire not sweep from before them? In the face of chaos and vile aliens, the Sisters of Battle merely redoubled their fervent prayers and penances and fought on. They came to believe that glorious victory was the only outcome. The idea that any would dare attack their mighty bastion was unthinkable. The possibility that their bastion could fall beyond belief.
Good, she comes.
Sisters, the living holy saint of the Emperor, Saint Anais, scourge of heretics.
Now, in the name of the Emperor!
Good.
There, it is done. May the Emperor's blessing carry us on to victory, sisters!
We thank you, honored martyr.
So, it is true then, these blessed shrines will confer invincibility?
Indeed, within each shrine lies a true and sacred relic of the ecclesiarchy. Now that the edifices have been blessed by a living saint, they confer upon her the inviolable aura, as scribed and fervently mastered by the great ecclesiarch Jonasiah Vuonis.
And wherever she goes, no harm may befall us?
Precisely. Neither our persons nor our belongings.
One pure bright candle amidst a sea of filth and darkness.
That is well said, Canoness. This is a tainted system. It may, in fact, be irredeemable.
Then we shall purge it with fire. I have yet to find a cinder that was not faithful in its praise of the Emperor. All is made ready?
Yes, mistress.
Good. These would-be conquerors shall have a taste of our fire and faith. The Emperor will punish them through us.
Due to their long association with the Inquisition, the Sisters of Battle have often taken it upon themselves to determine corruption among the other branches of the Imperial Armed Forces. When the Sisters of Battle arrived in the Kaurava system, General Stubbs knew there was only one way he and his guardsmen would make it through alive. Stubbs knew well that the Sisters militant would endeavor to exterminate any army outside of the Imperium, and possibly any force within it. No victory or act of penitence could clear them from suspicion by the reckoning of those ecclesiarchal zealots. Knowing that he had done no wrong, and unwilling to submit to inquisitorial reconditioning, the general prepared for battle. After witnessing the prevalence of chaos in the Kaurava system, Confessor Turganum March advised Canoness Agna that any refusal to cede authority to the sisterhood was clear evidence of heresy. When the Imperial Guard stood their ground, the Canoness acted quickly. Her mandate was clear. As heretics, they must be obliterated.
Our faith is great. My children, we shall make a crusade against the enemies of the Emperor. Where I go, do ye gather and take up arms, for I shall lead you to victory or glorious martyrdom.
Sisters, hear me! Make ready for war. Do so with haste. We must not tarry from our holy purpose. Mark well the enemy commander. It is he who must be smitten, in the Emperor's name.
Canoness, they are well defended, and with our current strength, I do not think that we could take them.
They must be stopped. I want the commander taken out of combat. Dispatch the assassins, immediately! There are two strategies. Cut off the flow, or smash them quickly. Remove their camp, and we have taken a threat off the field of battle. In the name of the Emperor, purge this land of their factories. Everything must be destroyed. They think themselves mighty, but our devotion grants us strength beyond the scope of mortal arms.
The charter of the Blood Ravens' 9th Company in the Kaurava conflict was undeniably clear. Stabilize the system, defeat all forces of chaos, and neutralize any opposing force. When the Sisters of Battle gave them direct opposition, it was necessary that they be removed from the stage of battle. The Sisters of Battle, of course, were also acting on their own orders, following similar instructions to brook no opposition. Evidently, there was not enough room for more than one Imperial force in the system. Commander Boreale was perturbed by the religious zealotry which he witnessed in the Sisters of Battle. In it he saw, perhaps, a twisted mockery of his own devotion to the God Emperor. Second only to the soldiers of chaos, the Blood Ravens found a natural enemy in the Sisters of Battle. If anything, the Sisters Militant stood even closer to heresy and chaos, whose destruction they were sworn to perpetrate. In the Order of the Sacred Rose, the Space Marines saw more than revolting pious zeal. They saw manifest evidence of the Chaos Gods through the Sisters of Battle's many acts of faith. Since they had been aware of their presence in the Kaurava system, the Blood Ravens had watched their debased kin with disdain and some fear. At last, the time came when the schism that divided Commander Boreale and Canoness Selena Agna resulted in direct conflict. Spurred by these considerations and the active threat the Sisters of Battle posed, Force Commander Indrick Boreale resolved on a direct attack. He would prove definitively the superiority of the Space Marines.
Be wary, my sisters. These heretical scum may creep behind every piece of wall or rubble.
Canoness, our surveillance has revealed that a powerful religious leader is within the compound.
Where is he? If we kill him, we kill their faith and hope.
By the great Canoness.
What?
Outside the central base, Mistress.
Support me, Emperor, for I tread in the lair of our enemy. It seems there is an unknown type of energy being emitted from several locations in the field of battle. Perhaps it would be best if we shed some light on these.
We know our duty, and we will do it. We fight for our honor as Blood Ravens, as Space Marines.
Canoness, we have found the leader.
They have erected a giant pennant of their wretched excuse for a faith. Sisters, we must cast it down! The target is in view! Fire Hunter-Seeker missile! Now!
We fight for our honor as Blood Ravens, as Space Marines.
Excellent. The area has been cleared.
And we fight in the name of the Emperor!
Watch out, sisters! An ambush! Is our only choice to travel this valley of death? Exalted and luminous saint, I beg you, fight by our side!
Together we will fight, and by the Emperor's will, we will triumph!
And lo, those who stand against the Emperor's will shall ever falter, and they shall ever fail. By his faithful they shall be crushed. They shall be burned and surely cast into the pits of horrid void.
At first, Commander Boreale had hoped that the enemies of the Imperium would spare him the unwelcome task of pitting his men against the feared and dreaded Sisters of Battle. Unfortunately, Boreale did not feel he had the luxury of waiting for mutual enemies to do his dirty work. He resolved on a bold and desperate move to attack the Sisters of Battle's headquarters directly before they could come to him. With the advantage of surprise on their side, the Blood Ravens showed themselves stronger in arms and armor than the pious Sisters of Battle. Soldier for soldier, the Sisters of Battle, weak of will and faith, could not compete with the Space Marines.
By the Emperor's wrath, you will pay for these feeble deceits. Stand aside! Misuse the Emperor's gifts, blasphemers!
They have lightning aircraft. I know those fighters well. We'd better take out their production facilities.
Commander, our reconnaissance has identified a small military encampment in the direction of the attack.
The Sisters' air factories. Destroy them now!
Yes, my lord.
Infidels! Dispatching a few missionaries will not staunch our faith or halt our crusade! Emperor, be the guide and shield of our sacred tanks! Our piety leads us to battle. Gather the crusade, we march to victory! To the crusade, and death to the enemy!
From the moment that the Blood Ravens crossed into the Sama district, it was a contest of speed versus flame, of matchless soldiers against stiff and narrow zeal. Unfortunately for the Sisters of Battle, the ruthless force with which the Space Marines struck them was simply too great. The Space Marines were like a dark torrent, crashing through the Imperial city, smashing the Sisterhood's battlements. Boreale swooped down on many of the Sisters of Battle with such speed that they had not time to make martyrs of themselves.
Those Rhino transports are giving them the advantage of speed. If we could find the machine cult buildings producing them, it might slow them down. Sisters, find the source of these abominations and leave it a smoking pile of ash!
Canoness, missionaries have spied small posts south and northwest of our base of operations. They are not strong, but if our base were left unattended...
This is where their Rhino transports come from. Come, sisters. We will purge it with fire and claim this land in the Emperor's name.
Look, the Sisters of Battle Manufactorums. We can put a stop to these Exorcist tanks once and for all.
This place is sacred! You shall not set foot here in the Emperor's name!
The Sisters of Battle approach. Ready yourselves, Blood Ravens.
Your guns are nothing in my presence.
Unfortunately, for the Sisters of the Order of the Sacred Rose, they were no match for the battle-hardened super soldiers they were forced to fight. Although the Sisters of Battle defended themselves admirably, they were handily overcome. When the Blood Ravens brought their military might to bear on the Sisters' stronghold, they found the challenge a perfect example of the closed-minded and closed-fisted approach of the fanatical humans. The remarkable powers that the Sisters of Battle displayed, though they amazed Indrick Boreale, could not turn the tide of the battle, and the Space Marines prevailed.
Avaunt, infidels! Avaunt! Unworthy fools! You shall not harm this holy place! Your blasphemy is...
Sisters, our foes have shattered 2 of the shrines. We must defend the remaining 2 to our last pious breaths. These heretical scum are infuriating!
Canoness, the chapel and servitor have arrived. The operation may commence. I suspect the road before is long and winding.
Praise the Emperor! Servitors! See, it is a sign!
They strike at our convents! Well, we are not yet short of the faithful and ready for battle! Our faith is once again strong! To the crusade and death to the enemy! Full of faith we march! From convent to convent our numbers grow, and so our might!
Sisters, hearken to my words. Our numbers are increased. We grow ready for our ultimate goal. Steel yourself, my sisters. The time of battle draws near. With speed!
The brave soldiers of the Order of the Sacred Rose had fully believed themselves girded and steeled against all assault, most of all in their own bastion on Kaurava I. So their surprise was great indeed when the blood ravens came upon them with irresistible force, making mockeries of their flamers, tanks, and acts of faith. Those weapons might have sufficed against the Imperial Guard, but alas, the Sisters of Battle faced an entirely different sort of foe. A foe which no prayers succeeded in averting or casting down.
My shrines! In ruins! Woe unto us!
The shrines. In ruins. We are forsaken. Is all lost. And yet we must fight. Sisters, we must fight and go in glory. Know that we shall never surrender. Every sister to the last would rather die a holy martyr in a field of flame than lay down her arms. Sisters, we must go as martyrs! We must go in flames!
In flames!
Now, my sisters, in the Emperor's name!
Commander Boreale ordered the attack on the Sisters of Battle stronghold in the Sama district purely as a preventative measure. In the end, it was well that he acted when he did. The Battle Sisters proved formidable at their current strength. Any further delay could have resulted in disaster for the Space Marines' cause. By defeating the Order of the Sacred Rose, the Blood Ravens removed yet another obstacle from their path. Canoness Agna had squandered her claim on the region, allowing disaster to run rampant. It was high time that Kaurava saw wiser, more capable stewardship. It was with some surprise that the Marines found they could not take prisoners of war among those ecclesiarchal zealots, as they had done in conflicts with the Imperial Guard. The foolish Sisters of Battle, of course, insisted on dying beyond all reason. Any survivors were shown the mercy of battlefield confession, which was far quicker and less painful than proper Inquisition proceedings. It was regrettable that so many sisters had to die. It was regrettable that they had come under suspicion of taint. But whatever the circumstances, corruption must be fought and, at all costs, wiped out. Once vanquished, the Space Marines treated the surviving Sisters of Battle with the utmost disgust, not giving them swift medical aid, or providing them with passage back to the Convent Sanctorum on Ophelia 7. Instead, they would become the slaves and playthings of the debased Imperial Guard. Some they feasted on, and some they set aside for General Vance Stubbs. Of the dark ceremonies and horrible atrocities that the 252nd Regiment perpetrated there in the Sama district, it is not best to give a full account. One lone sister of battle they tortured to the point of madness, then left, where she could someday strike fear into the hearts of others by muttering of the horrors she had seen. The Space Marines certainly proved their own superiority that day, routing the Sisters of Battle and spurning their powers, prayers, and their living saint alike. Under the orders of Commander Indrick Boreale himself, however, several particularly horrible examples were blasted into space, in a path that would surely be intercepted by an Inquisition battle fleet. This extraordinary feat surprised even General Stubbs, and on congratulating his troops afterwards, he remarked that it was certain proof that the Emperor had willed the Imperial Guard to hold dominion over the Kaurava system. When the battle was fully won, General Vance Stubbs ordered the city of the Sama district scoured, so that they could learn the technology that had produced invincibility and the other marvels that had been used against them. Strangely, this technology was gone, and the Imperial Guard were unable to account for it. On the day that the famed soldiers of the Imperium smashed the Sisters of Battle, General Stubbs saw such things as he had never guessed could fight under the banner of the Imperium. Although they were no orcs, they had fought heartily enough, and he was not sure that they were any less burny than the orcs' burniest boys. He suspected that they even had their own form of Wa, although anyone knows you can't have a Wa without proper banners. General Stubbs and his elite guard claimed many trophies from the gear of the Sisterhood, being a type of human soldier they had heard of but never before encountered. For years to come, General Stubbs was obsessed by the winged flight of the living saint who had fought him, going so far as to ask the God Emperor about making him wings of a similar kind. After this was done, where prayers and organ music had once been heard, silence reigned. Silence, except for the dull throb of the generators and the dull thunder of the horde marching off into the distance. The Eldar looked on as one of the forces of the Imperium was thoroughly annihilated. However, as formidable a threat as the valiant Sisters of Battle had been, their defeat was in no way encouraging. Could any living force halt the tidal wave of death as it crashed over the planets of the Kaurava system?